Hi guys, welcome to my channel Lush Gardener. I hope you guys are fine and are safe. In today's video we are talking about another very unique looking species of Crassula. Now this is called as Crassula Ivory. I'll put the entire name. Now please don't get confused with Crassula Ivory Tower. This is not Crassula Ivory Tower. This is Crassula Ivory Pagoda. I'm not very sure. I'm just going to put the name on the screen. Now this is an extremely delicate succulent. I'm going to put it in medium because if you have an experience of growing succulents, it is going to work out really well for you. But if you are a beginner, it might be slightly difficult. One, because this succulent gets quite damaged in transit. That's the main issue with this succulent, and then it takes a little bit of time for it to get adjusted. A lot of beginners tend to get panicked when they tend to see a succulent like this which is slightly damaged in postage, so they get panicked, and when you get panicked it gets transferred to the succulent and then the succulent starts going haywire. So whenever you get a succulent, do not be panicked. It's absolutely fine. If you kill the succulent, it's absolutely fine. That's how you learn. There's nothing to be stressed or panicked about. Let the succulents get stressed. You shouldn't get stressed about succulents. So this is an extremely unique kind of a succulent that looks very beautiful. It has a very fuzzy kind of a leaves, just like how we have for our Crassula falcata. It's also similar texture on the leaves. This succulent can be propagated via offsets. You can see over here there is one offset that's coming up, a new pup. You can separate it once it reaches a decent size, or you can also do stem cutting just like other Crassulas. Another pup growing over here. So you can do a stem cutting. It's going to be a little difficult for you to locate the stem, but it's going to be right there. As you can see, that's the stem. You can do a stem cutting and then let it to callus and then let it air root. It's going to take a little time for it to root, and that's going to work out. Talking about the care requirements, I would say it prefers a very slight moisture, not too much, because as you can see the leaves cannot hold a lot of water, so it can easily get dehydrated. Do not keep it underwatered for a very long time. Again, another important thing, do not expose this Crassula to direct afternoon sunlight. Do not expose it to morning direct sunlight as well. Keep it in indirect bright light. Probably once when the plant is completely established, once it starts doing quite well, you can expose it to morning direct sunlight for probably 1 hour or 2 hours, but not more than that. It prefers a good amount of indirect bright light. So if you're a person who does not receive a lot of direct sunlight, then this is one of the succulent you can add in your collection. The soil remains the same. You have to ensure that the soil is well draining, loose and porous, because they do not like to be in a very compact soil. The roots will not be able to form properly. So you have to ensure that the soil is loose, porous and well draining. And as I said, when you feel that 95% of the soil is dry, you can go ahead and water it. Do not keep it underwatered for a very long time. The leaves are very thin, so do not keep it underwatered for a very long time. Do not overwater it. They can easily get rotted. The stem will start turning mushy and the succulent will get rotted. Mealybugs are not much of an issue. Aphids are not much of an issue. But remember, as I said, fuzzy leaves are very prone to powdery mildew. So you have to be extremely careful. Do not add too much of organic matter in the soil. I have seen people adding tons and tons of vermicompost. Remember, vermicompost is one of the main reasons why your succulents are going to get affected with powdery mildew. So please do not add. If you have already added vermicompost, then please do not add any more fertilizers to the soil at all. Usually it's considered that the minimum quantity of vermicompost to be added to succulents is 3 teaspoons. When I'm talking about teaspoons, it's not even tablespoons, it's 3 teaspoons of vermicompost, and that can work out for an entire year. Even for 2 years your succulents are going to be good with that 3 teaspoons of vermicompost. But I have seen people adding so much of organic matter to the soil and then realize that their succulents are either getting rotted or turning weak. So you have to be extremely careful with this. Keep your soil as lean nutrient as possible. Do not make it very organic rich, otherwise it's again going to have effect on your succulent. So that's pretty much it about this succulent. It's an extremely beautiful succulent. If you are a person who loves something very unique, then this is one of the succulent you can add in your collection. If you are a beginner, you can add this in your collection, but ensure that you take good care of it. Do not shower it with too much of water, otherwise it will get rotted. Keep it in indirect bright light. If you're not very sure about the sunlight, direct sunlight, the safer option is to always keep your succulents in indirect bright light, because this succulent is not going to change its color, so you do not need to be worried about getting color on the succulent. It's going to pretty much stay the same color how it is. Probably it will turn slightly green in color, which is absolutely fine. So this is one of the succulent. You can add it in your collection, but I'm still mentioning it in medium because you need to have a little bit of experience while handling this succulent. Another thing, talking about dormancy, because it belongs to the variety of Crassula, it will get dormant during summers. Another main reason why it's going to get affected, because a lot of people do not know that you shouldn't water a lot during the dormancy period. Do not add a lot of fertilizers. Adding too much of water and adding too much of organic matter to the soil during its dormancy period is another reason why the succulent will get rotted. So winter is their growing period. You can add any liquid based fertilizer, but during summers please avoid adding any fertilizers, because another important thing about fertilizers and nutrients, when you tend to add them into the soil, it tends to heat up the soil a little bit. We already have summers which is already warm enough, and adding a lot of fertilizers into the soil is going to even generate more heat into beneath the soil, and that is again going to harm your succulents. So that's all about it. I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe, and keep propagating.